Good evening, Tsupiteros. Uh, Welcome to the very first FB Live event of Tsupitero.com. Um, we've been hesitating for the longest time to do videos and live events such as this one because I don't know, I'm just not really comfortable doing it. I guess I'm just more comfortable writing my analysis on the website, on my newsletter. But after this experience of the pandemic and the lockdown, I found myself watching more and more YouTube every day, and I guess people have a better connection right now. People are more lazy to read, and they prefer to just watch videos nowadays. So I think it's about time that we start um, changing the format of Chupitero slowly by converting some of my analysis into videos such as this one. So this is the very first time that we're gonna do this. And medyo naninibago pa ako because I'm so used to somebody like questioning me on TV, for example, when they're interviewing me. But in this case, it's like I'm just talking to myself, no? So it's kind of weird. But let's see how it goes. So anyway, I'm gonna start off by, of course, trying to analyze the markets first. I'll give you what I think about the markets. So let me show you my chart of the PSEi here. Um, so we've had this really big run in the PSEi index in the last 3.5 months, no? From a low of about what is this? Wait, let me wear my glasses. Sorry. 4,039, and then we made a high of about 6,583 last June 9. And then since June 9, we started to level off, no? We started to move sideways again. So I guess the big question now is, are we just resting before we continue to go higher? Or are we going to start correcting down from here? I guess to understand the markets, no, we have to think, why did the market actually rally very strongly in the last 3 months? I guess one of the reasons was that everybody knows already nowadays that crisis brings about opportunities. I think it's very well documented in books, in the internet, in a lot of literature that every time there is a panic in the market, it's almost always an opportunity to buy the market low. So this is one of those instances again, and a lot of people know about this concept already. So and if you judge it by history, then and you were to buy the market during times of panic and just hold on to it until times of euphoria, then you would probably make a lot of money, right? Another reason probably why this market has been very strong in the last 3 months is because um, people were thinking that the pandemic is just a short-term problem. It's just a short-term crisis. Maybe after a couple of months, we'll be back in business again. So this might be an opportunity to buy the market while everybody's panicking, and then maybe try to sell the markets when everything's back to normal again, diba? But I think the market has come to the point wherein it has realized that it really isn't going to be just a short-term problem, right? And we're probably going to be facing this new norm for quite a while, not just for the next couple of months. Maybe we might even be in this situation for a couple of years. So we are starting to now realize that reality. So there is actually that possibility that this rally may actually be over already, and we may correct back down. Okay. I do believe that that low at 4,039 could be a major, major, major low already for the markets. And it might actually be a low that you might never see ever again. But I guess a move down to 5,500 or maybe 5,000 or even 5,000 would not be impossible, especially if, the economy really turns down. You'll see a lot of bankruptcies coming. So there might be some bank defaults. The second wave of the pandemic worsens. There's a lot of things that could make this market go back down again. No, so but I guess objectively speaking, if you look at the markets now in the short term, and you can see, if I plot the Bollinger Bands of the market now, which is a measure of, just a minute, girls, excuse me, girls, keep quiet, please. If I plot the Bollinger Bands right now, which is a measure of the volatility, the short-term volatility of the market, you will notice that the bands are now very tight. Okay, what does this mean? The bands are very tight because the consolidation is matured already. We've been consolidating for more than a month already. From starting from June 9 all the way up to right now. No, it's been 1 month, and we've been moving in that tight range of between 6,000 and 6,400. Okay, so what happens after this? Normally, the market will tend to trend again very soon, just like what happened right here. Okay? So what happened right here? The market, the Bollinger Bands squeezed very tightly, and then the market started to trend. So we are in that phase of the market right now. So the markets can go either way, in the short term. If we break 6,000 on the downside, I'm almost certain we will drop to 5,500 or even lower. But if we break 6,400 on the upside, we could climb all the way up to 7,000. Okay? So that's how I see the market. So I'm a bit bearish on the market actually. My bias is leaning towards a move going back down to 5,500. But objectively speaking, it's a bit 50-50 right now, and who knows? I might be wrong. We might actually go to 7,000. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me about ABS CBN and GMA 7. Before I discuss ABS CBN and GMA 7, I'd like to say thank you first to one of our sponsors, XM. For those of you who are interested in trading in forex, or who want to trade commodities like oil or gold, you might want to try XM. If you for first timers or for those who open new accounts with XM, XM will provide you with $30 of trading money for free, which you can use in addition to your trading capital. So that's a promo that XM offers for all those who open accounts for the first time. So I'll go back to the markets. I'll now discuss with you a lot of a very controversial topic right now, which is ABS CBN. So I guess everybody already knows, no? ABS CBN lost their franchise yesterday, and of course, this is bad news for ABS CBN. They will lose their ability to make a lot of money. They will lose their ability to have positive cash flow. They still have some business online, but from what I know of ABS, the online business isn't really making that much money yet as compared with the television and the radio businesses of ABS. So this is bad news for ABS, and those of you who probably are not very experienced with the markets would probably think that ABS might actually go to the floor on Monday, But if you've noticed, in the last few days, although ABS has been dropping a little bit, on last Friday, the ABS was down by what, 2.6%, no? It hasn't really been reacting negatively that much, right? Did you notice that? Okay, so why is that so? Well, first of all, I think the market has pretty much discounted already the bad news in ABS. I think a lot of people already know that the company will not be able to renew their franchise. Okay, based on the news that we've been hearing every day, based on the price action of ABS, based on the price action of GMA, you know, um, you knew that ABS will not be able to renew their franchise. So that is also the reason why the price of ABS hasn't been dropping that much anymore. A lot of people have already concluded that fact that ABS will probably lose their franchise. Okay? So it means that if the market has already discounted this reality, then a lot of those who wanted to sell ABS, they have already sold. Okay? But of course, there will still be some negative reaction on Monday, no? I'm pretty sure, of course, it will still go down on Monday, and there's probably some people who bought last week thinking that, hey, and we're probably gambling that, hey, ABS might be able to renew their franchise, so I'll gamble on it now, and then they'll probably end up selling again on Monday, no? So, yes, there will be some negative reaction on ABS, but probably not as bad as what you think, no? Another thing that's good about ABS, no, even though they may have lost a significant chunk of their cash flow right now, is that there is actually value in ABS. The book value of ABS right now is 43 pesos per share as of their last um, disclosed financial statements. Okay, so it's 43 pesos per share. Just imagine, okay, even if we discount the 43 pesos, what is 43 pesos? 43 pesos means that these are the accumulation of all the assets of ABS CBN, and then you deduct all their utang, their liabilities, and then divide it by all the shares, all the outstanding shares, you'll be left with 43 pesos per share. Okay? You you less pa nga pala the preferred shares, no? So you'll be left with 43 pesos per share. So just imagine, ABS can actually be sold and prices would go higher. Why? Because the assets are worth 43 pesos per share. Okay, let's just, even if you just put a 50% discount on the assets. So what is that? 43 pesos divided by 2. That's still 21.50 per share. And that's still a significant premium from where it is right now. Okay, so for those of you who are probably more aggressive in your trading, you might actually want to, try and accumulate ABS when it drops, maybe next week or in the next couple of weeks, and then, gamble on what's gonna happen next. There's a lot of things that could go right for ABS after this. They could, who knows? They could do a merger with GMA7, or maybe it could do a Manila Water. What happened to Manila Water? Enrique Razon suddenly Enrique Razon suddenly wanted to get into Manila Water, and then the stock suddenly improved, no? So there's a lot of things that can go right with ABS after this. So for those of you who are stuck with ABS, I would really not recommend selling it anymore next week. I mean, it's just too late. I mean, if you wanted to sell ABS, you would have sold it already in the last couple of weeks, but not next week. Excuse me. Girls, girls, keep quiet, please. Okay, sorry, my daughters are beside me and they're playing roadblocks. Okay, okay, so that's my take on ABS, no? I personally probably wouldn't touch ABS because I'm a short-term trader, and I think there will probably be some momentum on the downside next week. So I'd rather buy something that I know is going to go up than is going to go down. But maybe if I suddenly see a very extreme move on the downside for ABS next week, then I could probably do a bounce play on it. All right. But again, for those of you probably are very aggressive, you can gamble in it, knowing for a fact that the book value is quite high. All right. So how about for GMA7? Let's go to GMA7. So for GMA7, it made a very big run in the last 4 days, because the market felt that, ABS would not be able to renew their franchise. So those buyers of GMA7 were right, no? The ABS was not able to renew their franchise, and GMA now might become, like a sort of like a monopoly in the industry. There's actually just GMA and ABS. No, I know there's other channels, but nobody actually watches ABC5, or is there meron pa bang channel 13? Or channel 4? I It's been years since I last watched those television channels. So it's actually just ABS or GMA. So it would be interesting to see how GMA would react to this news next week. Although I would guess that maybe there would probably be a sell on news behavior on GMA on Monday or on Tuesday. So be careful for buyers of GMA. I wouldn't recommend buying the stock on Monday or Tuesday next week. No, you let the euphoria die down first before you start buying this one, if you're interested in buying. But the litmus test here would be once it starts to go down. If the stock becomes sort of like a buy on dips mentality already, and the fundamentals have changed, and maybe the technicals have actually changed, no? Maybe the trend of GMA has actually changed in the medium term already. So if that's the case, then maybe you can start buying GMA on the dips from this point on. But again, so it's a sell for me in the short term, but for the medium term, GMA might actually be a buy on dips. Okay? So, okay, that's my take on ABS and GMA. But before I go on to my next stock, which a lot of people are also asking from me, I would also like to thank my other sponsor, which is AP Securities. I actually am a broker of AP Securities, and if you want to have sound research, timely research in your trading, I suggest that you try and trade with us in AP Securities. Okay, so I'll go now to my next stock, which is Altus Property Ventures. Okay, we hardly have a chart yet, no, because the stock has been trading for just what less than a month for now. So, what do I think of Altus? Um, the according to its prospectus, no, according to its financial statements, it actually the only asset that it has is a part of a mall in saan ba yun? Sa Ilocos ba, no? Robinsons has a mall in, I think, in Ilocos, and part of that mall was infused in Altus Property Ventures, and um and is now the asset of Altus Property Ventures, ano? So you might be thinking, why would I just buy a company that only has a part of a mall? You know, that sounds absurd, right? Actually, from the way I see it, there is a reason why the Gokong Ways listed Altus Property Ventures. And it's not really because of that asset that they infused in Altus. They are going to use Altus Property Venture as a backdoor listing vehicle for some other company in the future. Okay? So this company is actually a backdoor listing play. Okay? Um, when you say it's a backdoor listing play, it will the Gokong Ways will most probably infuse a much bigger asset into Altus Property Ventures in the future in exchange for shares. Okay? So that's what's gonna happen to Altus. Okay? So for me, given let's go to the edge, no? And if you look at APVI, okay, you will see that the market cap is only 2.5 billion pesos. Okay? 2.5 billion pesos. Nowadays, um, or sorry, in 2019, in late 2019, I think the last shell company that was bought was, I think, if I remember correctly, was ABG. And ABG, I think, was bought for about I think 900 million pesos. Okay, so, but that's actually a bit expensive, ano? Normally, a shell company would be selling for about half a billion pesos. So, at 2.5 billion pesos, Altus actually is a bit of in a premium compared to its to the value of a shell company. Okay. However, Altus actually has an asset, right? So if you look at its book value is actually 6 pesos per share or 600 million pesos. Okay? So, you add 600 million to the value of a shell company, which is 500 million, then you get a value of 1.1 billion pesos or roughly 11 pesos per share. Okay? So, um, just from the perspective of an investor looking for a home run because he is expecting a backdoor listing for this stock, then I would actually look at Altus Property Ventures as a buy on dips. I would recommend people to buy it as close to its issuance price of 10 pesos per share as possible. Okay? Okay, why, if that is the case for Altus, then why is Altus dropping right now? Why is it very weak? Like if you look at the price in the last what, one, two, three, four, five, six, it's been dropping for like 6 out of the last 7 days. Why is this so? It's because this company came as a property dividend of Robinson's land. Okay? Which means that everybody who held on to Robinson's land before the X date is now holding on to Altus Property Ventures. Okay? And if I if I'm correct, there were like 25% of the shares of Robinson's land during that time were owned by foreign funds. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that 25% of the shares of Altus Property Ventures are also owned by foreign funds. Okay? So while these funds probably are okay to, just a minute. Girls, please keep quiet. Okay, so while these foreign funds are interested in holding on to their RLC shares, they are probably not very interested in holding on to Altus at the moment. Why? Because it's very speculative for them. These foreign funds are institutional funds. They want to hold on to stocks that have profitability, that are very stable, that have good earnings, that have a track record. They don't want to hold on to Altus Property Ventures. Okay? So they see this as something that they want to get rid of. All right? Okay? So that is why every day you see a lot of foreign selling in Altus Property Ventures. Okay? And if my count is correct, there are still probably around 20 million shares or maybe a little less that are still held on by the foreign funds in Altus Property Ventures. So in the short term, expect Altus to become weaker still. Okay, in the short term. Okay, but again, in the big picture, in the long term, um, I would look to accumulate Altus. All right, especially siguro if I knew that the foreign funds are are done already with their selling. Okay, so so there, that's my take on Altus, no? So it's a short-term sell, but a long-term buy. That's how I see it. Okay. Okay. So I'm now going to jump to my recommended stock, but again, before I go to my recommended stock, I'd like to thank my third sponsor, which is AAA Equities. So if you guys are interested in looking for a broker with automated stops or automated buy stops, go for AAA Equities. Okay? Okay, finally, my pick of the week. Okay, I guess um, um, my FB Live wouldn't be complete without a recommendation, right? So despite the market being lousy at the moment, yes, I do have a recommendation. And my recommendation right now is Manila Water. Okay? Okay, why Manila Water? First of all, it's very cheap. Okay, it's very cheap. Um, let's look at the financials of Manila Water. Okay, let's go here. Okay, Manila Water is currently trading at 28.6 billion market cap. Okay, let's look at the annual report. Okay, the stock is trading at about 14 pesos per share, but the book value is about 26 pesos per share. Okay, last year they made 5.5 billion pesos. Okay, this is in billion, this is in thousand pesos. Okay, so it's a company that is making it is a 28.6 billion company which is making 5.5 billion per year, or a PE of about 5 times. Okay? So it's very cheap. The valuation is very cheap. All right? But sabihin niyo naman, dami namang cheap dyan, Miko eh. Why Manila Water? Okay. Why Manila Water? Because of this disclosure right here. Okay? What is this? It It says here that the talks to have a concession again with Manila Water will probably be concluded by mid this year. I'm guessing, I'm guessing that the reason why the stock became quite strong right here is because the market is already expecting that they will get a new concession very, very soon. Okay? So it says here that they will conclude the talks in mid 2020. So that's probably it, you know? So, and of course, if you look at the technicals, I like the technicals. You know, it's trending up in the short term, it's trending up in the medium term, and I think it's about to break this major trend line here at about 1496, no? So it made a an attempt here. It's pulling back now, but if it holds here at 1366 and forms a higher low here, then the next attempt at 15 might already be the one that could break that long-term trend line at um, 1496. So um, that's it, guys. I think I've taken too much of your time already. I hope you learned something from me tonight. I hope you enjoyed my talk. I We hope to do this every week from this point on, and I don't know, maybe in our next few sessions, maybe we could even invite some people to talk with me and to talk about the markets also, and have another perspective other than myself. But we hope to do this every week, and I hope you can join us again next week. So that's it, guys. Cheers.